I think that the theme of the conference on tackling the problem of populism is very important for modern classical liberals to address. Liberalism is not a fixed and frozen doctrine. It's an ongoing project built on some principles: private property, freedom of contract, freedom of association, free flow of labor and capital. It's a very important issue in this day and age to address the issue of freedom of labor, movement of labor and capital across borders and these. So we have to constantly rethink those kind of questions and the challenges that are confronted. And Hayek gave us one of the really important puzzles, which is that our evolutionary past gave us these in-group moral intuitions, but yet the great society of the cosmopolitan order requires us to have a morality that expands beyond those in-group affinities, and we need to keep cultivating that and working and developing those ideas. And so, to me, liberalism is an ongoing project in political economy that builds on the great insights from Adam Smith and David Hume onwards, but David Hume and Adam Smith didn't write about the problems exactly that we face today, so young people need to get involved in addressing the new scientific programs. I like to use the analogy right now that when we look back at medicine in the past, and people used to put leeches to, bleed people, we look at it and we say, oh, how could they be so barbaric? And I imagine 100 years from now, they'll look back at chemotherapy and they'll say, how did they used to be so barbaric? Well, that's also true of economics. There's an essential truth about various things, but then there's constant renewal that's required. And what we need to do is make sure that we're constantly opening that invitation to inquiry to the next generation, that we can solve the tough problems that we face, that we should excite the curiosity of young people in the discipline to pursue these broader questions. So that's what liberalism needs most and foremost. The Young Scholars Program, which is an initiative at Mont Pelerin Society that started by Ben Powell, I think is extremely important precisely because you need to keep attracting the young and talented individuals across the disciplines to the ideas of true liberalism. I think it's important for all of us to remember is that Milton Friedman was a young academic in 1947 when he went to his first Mont Pelerin meeting. Same thing with George Stigler and other people. Hayek was just a mid-career academic. He was Hayek. He had already written The Road to Serfdom. Milton Friedman hadn't yet written any of his papers that you know, but he got involved, was developed. It was a small group of people, and those young academics later on became the thought leaders for the next generation. And so we need to constantly be attracting the next generation thought leaders in the liberal project.